10 creatures from mythology. Number 10. Cerberus. Depicted as a three-headed dog with the tail of a serpent, a mane of snakes, and the claws of a lion, he's also at times showing having 50 heads, although this may be attributed to the serpents in his mane. If these depictions alone are not scary enough, his name in ancient Greek means death demon of the dark. Works by many Greek authors, such as Homer and Plato, tell stories of Cerberus, but it wasn't until writings by Hesiod, one of the earliest Greek poets, called him the Hound of Hades. By the name Cerberus, that the three-headed, unspeakable, unmanageable, savage dog got his name. Number 9. Mothman. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia collapsed. Although the official explanation for the disaster was cited as being a result of structural design flaws, some people in the area believe a mysterious creature known as the Mothman is the reason for the destruction. In the 40 years since this creature first appeared, no one has been able to determine whether there's any truth to these claims. The first documented sighting of this creature was in 1966, when two gravediggers reported a large-winged humanoid that flew from a tree and glided over their heads. 3 days later, two couples claimed to have seen a massive humanoid with a 10-foot wingspan and large glowing eyes that chased them down the road. Another man 90 miles away heard a strange sound that same evening that drew him outside. When he explored his surroundings, he spotted two glowing eyes, but didn't think they resembled any animal he had ever come into contact with. The man's dog took off after the supposed creature, and unfortunately, it disappeared and was never seen again. All these years later, there is still no evidence that the creature caused the disaster. However, the lore of the Mothman still lingers in the remote hills of West Virginia. Number 8. Sirens. Sirens seem to have evolved from ancient tales of peril of early exploration. In Homer's writings, he described two sirens on an island in the Western Sea, a mythical island in Greek mythology, which was considered to be the place where the witch Circe lived. Later, the number of sirens was increased to 3, and they were said to be found on the west coast of Italy. They are sometimes said to be the daughters of the sea god, Phorcys, while other times they are depicted as the daughters of the river god, by one of the muses. In Homer's Odyssey, Odysseus helps the sorceress Circe escape the danger of the siren song by stuffing the ears of his crew with wax, so they would remain deaf to the tantalizing sound of her songs. Number 7. The Wendigo. In Native American folklore, there's a demonic spirit named the Wendigo. The supernatural creature is said to not only possess, but curse humans by causing them to suffer from a cannibalistic urge that is never quenched. That one sounds pretty freaky. The earliest version of this legend came from the Algonquin-based Native American tribes. The evil spirit, or demonic entity, was said to be able to possess humans and sometimes even transform into them. Those who were previously driven to commit cannibalism in a desperation to survive harsh winters were said to be overcome by the entity. Because the spirit is driven by its insatiable hunger for human flesh, any human possessed by it would slip into a savage state like some mindless zombie. Depictions of the creature show it as an emaciated creature with the head of a stag's skull. It also had sunken eyes and skin stretched tightly over its bones. Strikingly tall, yet fragile and haggard, the creature is said to fall apart from decomposition as it moves and poisons the minds of humans by forcing them to constantly crave the meat of other humans. Number 6. The Centaur. The ancient Greeks have an extensive belief in mythological creatures, and the centaur is one of them. It is depicted with the head and arms and torso of a human that is joined at the waist to the body and legs of a horse. Representing barbarism and chaos, centaurs are frequently represented in Greek architectural sculpture and pottery. There are a number of famous centaurs in mythology, including Chiron, who is known for his wisdom and was said to have tutored both Achilles and Hercules. Many of the ancient Greek buildings have decorative sculptures of centaurs, including a battle of centaurs and gods. One is on the Temple of Zeus at Olympia, and another can be found at the Parthenon. Depicted as being uncivilized and brutish, this mythological creature is quite fantastical, and common depictions symbolize the struggle between barbarism and civilization in much of Greek's decorative culture. Number 5. Banshees. Over time, the Banshee has been depicted in one of 3 disguises: as a young woman, a stately matron, or a rattled hag. These depictions are said to represent the triple aspects of the Celtic goddess of war and death, also depicted as either wearing a gray hooded cloak or a grave robe of the dead. She may also appear as a washerwoman, seen washing the blood-stained clothes of those who are about to die. Although the Banshee is not always seen, her mourning call is said to be heard at night when someone is about to die. Her wails can even be so piercing they shatter glass. Other times, her call is said to be a low, pleasant singing, while others say there is a thin screeching sound that is a cross between a wail of a woman and the moan of an owl. Number 4. Doppelgangers. Although some people may be excited to run into someone that looks similar to them, the mythology of spirit doubles is quite disturbing. If a person sees a doppelganger of a loved one, it is said to signify illness or danger could be coming to that person. To see your own doppelganger is said to be an omen of death. Number 3. Harpies. Depicted in the form of a bird with a human female face, harpies are said to abduct people and torture them on their way to Hades' domain. After stealing food from their victims, they carry evildoers to Erinnys of the Furies, female goddesses known best for vengeance and retribution. Although initially classified as spirits who personify destructive winds, the harpies take on different traits depending on the stories they are found in. Hesiod described them as lovely, fair-locked maidens, while in Grecian pottery, they are depicted as beautiful creatures with wings. However, other stories describe them as ugly creatures with wings, cruel, terrifying monsters that are always hungry. Number 2. Pegasus. One of the more enchanting mythological creatures in Greece is that of Pegasus. Described as a beautiful, pure white stallion with wings, Pegasus is born from the blood of Medusa. Strangely, Pegasus has a twin brother depicted as a human, but both are sons of Poseidon, Greek god of the sea. However, it was Zeus who rewarded Pegasus for his service by placing him among the stars. So the next time you happen to be in the northern or southern hemispheres in August, cast your eyes to the skies. Perhaps you'll catch a glimpse of the Pegasus constellation and be transported into the magic of Greek myth. Number 1. Wraith. A type of Scottish ghost, the Wraith is said to be created when something goes wrong, when a witch or wizard tries to create a spell that will allow them to either live longer or manipulate time in some way. Although the Wraith gets their wish in a way by now being transformed into an immortal being, their quest for power has serious consequences. The souls of the Wraith are taken away and condemned to never reach the spirit realm. However, life for the Wraith in the spirit realm is not as idyllic as it sounds. They are in somewhat of an afterlife. Wraiths are forced to wander between these dimensions for all eternity. Another kind of Wraith is described as a parasitic kind of ghost demon that inhabits empty spaces until they find a human they can attach themselves to. A third frightening type of Wraith is called a Roarer, known as a watcher or warden that follows the soul of a person from the time they are born until they die. This is the only type of Wraith that is not considered evil. Some legends describe them as dark entities, with black cloaks, having the arms and legs of a corpse, and their face either skeletal or an endless black hole. Filled with heinous and ill intent, Wraiths are consumed with anger, despair, and hatred. Their eternal hunt for unfortunate souls leaves them destined to wander aimlessly for an eternity, taking away hope from those who live.